Hi, welcome to 5 Minutes with Pastor Lutzer. I'm so glad that you joined us today as we continue to discuss the attributes of God. The attribute we are discussing today is the wisdom of God. And if you were with us last time, you know that we defined wisdom as the ability to bring about the greatest possible ends using the best possible means. You say, well, Pastor Lutzer, does that mean that God needed evil to accomplish his ends? Is this really the best of all possible worlds? If you're thinking that, I'm so glad that that's exactly what is on your mind, because in the next session, that's the question we are going to discuss. For today, as we discuss the wisdom of God, I'm actually in Ephesians chapter 3. I'm picking it up here in verse 9. It's speaking about God, and it says, to bring to light for everyone what is the plan of the mystery hidden for ages in God, who created all things, so that through the church the manifold wisdom of God might now be made known to the rulers and authorities. This was in accordance with his eternal purpose. Think about that for a moment. The church was not an afterthought. And of course, the mystery that the Apostle Paul refers to is the unity of Jews and Gentiles, the multi-ethnic church. And that, of course, can be expanded to include today the multi-racial church, people from every tongue and language and nation all around the throne. But this was God's eternal purpose, and it is the manifold, the many-sided wisdom of God that we see in that. We see it because of the cross. And God's desire is to unite in one, Jew and Gentile, that they might have a unity that really transcends race, that transcends cultures, the unity of Jesus Christ. Sin always divides, grace and God's work always unites. Now, I need to remind you, however, that the wisdom of God is a communicable attribute. If you are with us as we discuss the holiness of God, you know that I distinguish between the non-communicable attributes, such as omniscience, omnipresence, which we will never have. The communicable attributes are ones that we also should have, at least to some degree. God loves, therefore we should love. God has wisdom, therefore we should have wisdom. And the Apostle Paul and others talk about the need for wisdom in the midst of our world. Now I want to ask you a question today. Do you always seek God's wisdom? He has wisdom in which he accomplishes his purposes, but he says to us that we should seek him for wisdom. Recently, I counseled a young man whose girlfriend broke up with him, and it can be very crushing. We've all been there, thankfully. For many of us, that's in our past. But the fact is this, I told him, remember that God can see around corners, and we can't. God's wisdom is so much greater than ours because he sees the future, he has all knowledge, and therefore what you and I must do is to trust him. I can't tell you how often I have used James 1:5. Sometimes I've been on a telephone call, wondering how I should answer a question or how I should interact with this person. And in the back of my mind, I'm praying James 1:5. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all men liberally and upbraideth them not. That's the King James Version. The modern versions say he does not reproach us. He doesn't say, you asked me for wisdom yesterday. Why are you asking me for wisdom today? No. You go to God for wisdom, and you trust him all the way. If I could just add a further word, sometimes when I've counseled couples who were so mismatched, I have often asked them, did you really consult God before you were married? No, we kind of assumed that, he was a Christian and so forth. My friend, don't make any important decision, or even any minor decision, without consulting God. James 1:5, You lack wisdom? The wisdom of God manifest in the church. He will share with you the wisdom that you need to take the next step. God bless you today. Go with God, and I'll see you right here next time.
Thanks for joining us for 5 Minutes with Pastor Lutzer, a production of Moody Church Media. If you'd like more teaching to encourage you in your Christian walk, visit moodymedia.org or follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Moody Church Media. Join us next week as we continue to study the attributes of God together.